Welcome, everybody. This is Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, March 28th, 8:31 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for being online with us tonight, live and breathing, and so happy to obviously see this many amount of people at Explorer Stadium this weekend. I think, and I want to say this boldly, this is a bold statement from the city of Orlando to tell not only U.S. soccer, but tell the whole world this is a soccer city, this is a football city or football city, and we're here to compete. We're here to be a host city for the 2026 World Cup, and I think we could be having it out of the bag if we keep putting shows and we keep definitely supporting not only our national team but Orlando City this level. I think I was there. David was there as well, and I mean the pitch was just shaking. I haven't experienced this since I was 8 years old, watching maybe a Copa Libertadores match in Peru, and it definitely was very deep for the players, especially. I mean, people were cheering when they were coming in, when they were going to the locker room, when it was halftime. I mean, it was just imposing. I wonder if Orlando, either the Pride, OCB, Orlando City, they make it far in their respective leagues, and we deliver this caliber of a spectacle. The opposition has no chance. I mean, the people are just so in there, in your face. It's just like this little sound waves. It just shakes the whole pitch. So phenomenal. Definitely kudos to all the people that were in the game. Phenomenal win for the United States of America. Super proud of the boys. And I think we have one more check to go on the quest to Qatar 2022. So excited about that. We're going to be talking about also Orlando City against Portland. Pato, what happened to Mauricio. We're also going to be talking about Orlando Pride, OCB as well, made their debut. But before I give the mic to David, I want to thank you for your continued support to every single one, every single people that is specifically live right now. Check us out on our social media networks. We are at Twitter at LPO_podcast. We are on Facebook Live at the moment. Also on all Orlando Facebook groups. Don't delete my posts. Thank you so much. Omar Bamba, also thank you so much. As well as we're live on YouTube. Click on notification link for all notifications. We're Loud and Proud Orlando. And also, this episode will be featured for everybody that wants to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify will be available right after. David, how are you, my friend?
Doing great. Thank you, Luis. Thank you to everybody that is either listening or watching us live or otherwise. A lot of football this past weekend. What I take away from the experience at Exploria with the United States national team was it was great to see a lot of people displaying patriotism and pride in the United States without any political attachment to it. People they show respect for an anthem, respect for the all the men that step on that pitch to represent our country, and also they were very gracious to the Panamanian fans, who quite honestly at halftime were leaving by the truckload because they knew there was no coming back from that. And it was nice to see the stadium rocking and packed again. It has not been like that for a long time. Testimony to what Orlando City could be, what Orlando Pride could be, what Orlando City B could be if once again we go back to win the hearts of the fans. I believe our teams are showing that they are in it to win it. Unfortunately, to a lot of fans, that disconnect with the club continues. The club needs to do better. Needs to be more aggressive. That's what I'm trying to get to, in my opinion. And not only that, this game yesterday, like you said, Luis, showcased our ability to be a host city. we were in 1994. I believe that honor should return to us. And not only that, also, our beautiful stadium has been making the rounds around the world. That's to be honest with you, I had friends in Europe compliment our stadium. They know I'm an Orlando City fan, but obviously they don't follow Orlando City, and they were like, "Hey, I watched the highlights. Beautiful pitch, beautiful stadium. The crowd, it was electric. It was amazing." So that shows you guys not only how our community had responded to the national call, but also what Orlando City could be, or Orlando City could be, I should say, once the fans return, as we hope.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think Orlando after yesterday, I mean, I have without a shadow of a doubt, I'm sure everybody around the league has seen um, what the fans did, and I mean, if this is not territory of a host city, I don't know what is. I mean, I want to thank U.S. Soccer Communications for obviously allowing Loud and Proud to be there and to report on the game. Thank you so much to everybody that helped us out as well. Thank you to Orlando City Communications as well to giving their word and definitely having our back. I mean, if that says a lot. I want to thank everybody there in communications, Jackie, Diogo, everybody. Thank you so much. It definitely is going to open a lot of doors for us moving forward as an outlet to provide you the best content possible and obviously cover our national team. To center ourselves, I have a couple of pictures. I want to also give kudos to 1A1 Creative, to Gabriel Gomez, my friend. He's Team Loud and Proud. He took some amazing shots yesterday. As we talk about the game, what I'm going to be plugging them in as well. Check them out on Instagram. That's A1A Creative on IG. Um, so let's start with the game. I mean, this is just categorically. I mean, I expected more from Panama, believe it or not. You have to understand. I've been following some of these players because some of them play in Peru, and like the number 19 Alberto Quintero, they call him Chiquitin. He plays in Peru in a big club there, in Universitario, and he's usually very very good with the ball. But yesterday he had no chance. I mean, you have to understand. The United States from minute one, they just attacked the wings, and their wingers were just not doing anything. They lost the ball in the mid a lot of times, and also they resulted in a lot of aggressiveness, especially in fouls. Um, Unnecessary aggressiveness. I think because of the frustration of just losing in such big way, and everything that Berhalter maybe did on practice, it became true right on the pitch that day. I mean, everything was working. People were doubting why is Jesus Ferreira right at nine, and he delivered. He could have had more goals. This could have ended easily in 8-1. But again, it was not a perfect night. Also for certain players, and Paul Ariola had also a great game. On the right wing. So, and this is not essentially. I don't see this, and I don't know what you think, Dave, but I don't see this as our A team. This is not our A team yet. Weston is not playing in here. There's a lot of players that are not. Civichu is not there. Team Wea is not in there. So this is, you can call it our B plus team, right? And with a captain, they call him Captain America, and I think yesterday he earned that moniker, Captain America. I mean, you talk about moving a locker room and having them all play at the same level as him. Once he was subbed out, obviously, it kind of you. That's when the first goal came in for Panama, and it was just, you know, but it happens. I'm so happy for him. His first hat trick with the U.S. men's national team. Yunus Munsa and Shaq Moore had a phenomenal game also. Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson too, denying the Panamanians in a couple of occasions. And what are your thoughts on the U.S. For starters, Dave?
No, no, absolutely. Actually, I'm gonna give you my view from the perspective of my oldest son, who I can define as a casual. You know, he goes to the Orlando City games. He loses interest here and there. You know, wanders off on his phone, and that's it. And last night he was like eyes on the pitch, which surprised me. He was like really getting into it, waving the flag. He was, oh, you know, we're doing it. I think the moment, the size of the moment for us caught like a wildfire on the fans. Panama, the second they step on that pitch, they knew that they have very few friends in that crowd. And this is one of the things that our founders envisioned that Exploria should have been for Orlando City, a fortress, right? And we have used that moniker before, and people laugh about it because obviously it hasn't materialized itself. But let me tell you something. I was sitting in the lower bowl, and when that fan base was screaming, you could feel that energy. You could feel that the air moving when people were screaming. When you have
Yeah,
25,000 people screaming at the same time, uh, clapping, waving those flags, that had to be super intimidating from that pitch. A pitch that is 10 feet sunken on the ground. I've been on the pitch, and when you look up, it was intimidating with the stands empty. I can't imagine with 25,000 people clad in red, white, and blue waving those flags. I think Panama is a fantastic team. Yesterday's result does not reflect who they are. Unfortunately for them, this is it, really.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's it.
yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, they're not going to be returned to the World Cup after making that their debut last cycle. The situation, in my opinion, was the United States knew they had to win. They have the talent. Their players are playing in much better leagues than the Panamanians. That cannot be denied. Our quality was definitely there, and like I said, they understood that what the assignment was to win. And unfortunately for Panama, yeah, you know, we came in very strong. Their frustration was immediate. I mean, they were once they were 2 goals down at that point, you could see how they went all attack because they knew that not even a tie was going to do it for them, and they were all milled on all the meat on the grill, like they say. They were going out wide, crossing the ball, and that wasn't working. And the frustration kept going and kept going, and the crowd kept getting louder. And in the end, Luis, that's what basically that what did him. They were down, I believe, 4 goals at the half, if I'm not mistaken, and at that point, you will need a miracle to come back from there. They have to be mad at themselves. Two preventable PKs. The first one was on Walker Zimmerman was a criminal. I'm sorry that is only coming from a professional football player. I mean, choking. Come on, you know,
Yeah, sure.
and VAR had no issues granting that PK. As far as Panama, they go back to the drawing board. They're a very good side. They will have to try for 2026. We don't have that problem. We're qualified. So this probably is the last time for a few years that we're gonna see ourselves sweating it out. And for the United States, well, looking forward to going to Costa Rica and punching our ticket.
For sure. I agree. I mean, I think everybody in the United States of America wanted to see this U.S. side play this way, with the type and caliber of players and youth this team has. This is what every single fan expected from Berhalter's side since day one. And honestly, in some games, the U.S. men's national team, we didn't see that from the U.S. men's national team. And every single player yesterday, they probably said, "This is my ticket to Qatar, and I want to be there, not only for me, for my family, and also for my resume." and also for my, because they all want to get into better clubs. Do you think Tyler Adams wants to always be in the same club, or Pulisic maybe has ambitions to play in Spain or play in a different club than Chelsea? Maybe he wants to stay in Chelsea. I don't know. So, the World Cup is going to be key. Obviously, there's one more game, and I think this U.S. team can beat Costa Rica. I mean, Costa Rica, I know for a fact they have some exciting players. They have an exciting soccer league as well, but it's not up the level. I will say the Costa Rican league, it's subpar than maybe Liga MX and
And
MLS.
Luis, we can't forget that this same Panamanian team defeated us 1-0 in Panama City.
Yeah,
So same players, same players. It wasn't like we were putting a C team or D team. We were putting our best, and the Panamanians defeated us. So, like I said, I am not the one, especially at national level, to put down teams. You put out the best 18 players from your country that you can have. Obviously, the bigger your country, the chances are better your players are, unless you're France and you nationalize a bunch of immigrants. But that's a story for another day. The fact of the matter is that with Costa Rica, they are coming for us. They're not gonna give us. Trust me. And I've been a Hispanic for almost 46 years, and I can tell you that beating the Gringos is always feather on everybody's cap. So they're gonna come. They're gonna come at us in San Jose. That's the capital of Costa Rica for all of you. And they're gonna be packing the house. What we did to Panama, they're gonna do it to us. So it's up to our boys to go there and close the deal. Right now, basically, we have to either win or tie or lose by less than 6 goals. So I'm one of those guys that after Trinidad in the last cycle, I can believe that things can go wrong. So I'm not calling it already a done deal. So our boys have to go there and close the deal. That's it.
well, I mean, yeah, definitely. I think what worked psychologically in our favor was obviously the crowd. But these are professional players, just like you said. They need to be used to playing in harsh environments. I'm sure Panama and everybody that we've defeated in these qualifiers are going to want the U.S. to lose and not go to the World Cup. But unfortunately, I think the world, I mean, sounds kind of weird, but the world deserves to see this team in action. I mean, there's so many exciting players, not only your starters, but also your subs that could potentially be key players for major clubs in the future. And I mean, this is serious, and it will level up the quality of the sport in the United States. And also 2026 is around the corner, and I think the United States, not only they have to, in my opinion, I think the U.S. needs to be the best World Cup. They need to destroy the organization Qatar is doing for this World Cup. I mean, we need to be above and beyond in technology, in play level. I mean, I remember when the World Cup was in Korea, Korea, Japan. Um, Korea made it far. I think they
Yeah,
were in
2002.
they were in the quarterfinals. They went to the quarterfinals. I think we need to aspire to that. And in order to aspire to that and to think big to that, we need to demonstrate it in this World Cup, and then our soccer will eventually follow, right? And I think we're making big steps. I think the U.S. soccer wants to play in Orlando more often. I don't say that they always have to play in Orlando, but you kind of know when Orlando shows up yesterday, they show up. And I think that was demonstrated yesterday. And I think the whole United States, all the host cities are that want to have World Cup playing time or matches. They noticed yesterday, oh shit, we're competing against Orlando. this is going to be tough to replicate.
No,
So
no. I gotta tell you, add to that, Luis. A few years back, we had we had a friendly in Orlando. Um, not the last time the team played, but the last time they played in Orlando was a friendly against Trinidad at the beginning of last year. You correct me if I'm wrong, but the one cycle before that, you know, Sardes was still in the team. A bunch of the old timers were still in it, and I was working a trade show at the one of the hotels on Disney property, and the national team was staying there. And I ran into Sardes. I took a picture with it. The people that follow me on social media have seen that picture, and I spoke with several players and staffers, and they said they just love it. The stadium gives itself for that. Now, a lot of people obviously are going to be like, well, my team has a similar stadium. The national team has played in Cincinnati and has played in Minnesota, but not under the best of conditions. And I'm sorry, what happened in Minnesota should have had never happened. It was awful for the players. It was torture for the fans that paid just as much money as the guy as we paid last night to go watch the national team. And I don't care who you are, but if you are in sub-zero conditions and your keepers are wearing basically long pants, it should already tell you that it's too cold. But the times that the United States has played in Exploria, it has been under gorgeous weather. It was beautiful yesterday, sunny, perfect conditions. And I think they will continue to come. They get great results when they come. Well attended games, and as an American, like I said, it was an honor to be there with my kids because, like I said before to a few people, this was my last World Cup with my kids being kids. By the next World Cup, they're gonna be grown men. So I wanted to take that experience of living that imprint in their childhood. We had a great time, and hopefully will repeat itself. Hey, Luis, can we go to some of the comments that we have already?
sure, that's what I was gonna do. Thank you so much to everybody that left your comment. Mark Rodriguez says, amazing atmosphere. OCSC needs to work to match that as a goal for the club. I totally agree. I couldn't agree any more with
I
that.
agree as well.
Joshua Tall, hi, how you doing, man? Mark Rodriguez, tremendo juegazo anoche. Yeah, it was a great game for sure. Felix Quijano, Orlando should be hosting every USA home match. I mean, we would love that for
We will
sure.
love it.
I wouldn't complain.
We got to
That's for
spread the
sure.
joy.
Washington Lopez, he says, "Good evening, fam. Yes, you can hear it live on TV. Yeah, it was electric. Just like OC Fan TV says, atmosphere was electric again. Need to campaign for Explorer to be the U.S. men's national team home stadium every match. Yeah, I mean it could be." And Waffle Singh says, "I was also there. Yep,
Oh
I
yeah.
was also there. Yep, definitely. So this is the standings right now. Obviously Canada, and I want to give kudos to former OCSC players also that are part of Team Canada.
Part of their
Um,
success. Kyle Laring,
Kyle
Rich
Aaron,
Larea,
Richard,
Kamal Miller.
yeah, Richard Larea and Kamal Miller. They're all going to Qatar, right? Team
Hmm.
Canada is going there after 36 years. It reminds me a lot of Peru because Peru also qualified for Russia after 36 years not being in a World Cup. And I actually would love for Peru to face Canada. I think, and I'm gonna draw first blood right here. I want Canada to play against Peru in the World Cup. It will be, I think, a great game to watch. Similar flags, you know, but I think it will definitely be a big test for Peru and a big test for Canada. So, I mean, and that is what makes the World Cup, right? Because you don't know
Hmm.
who know, and so Peru right now is in contention of a playoff spot to play against the AFC contender. It could be Australia.
Luis, this is what we need to get rid of the Gold Cup and have Copa America being a real American Cup.
Right.
One of the things I want to tell you guys, and sorry to interrupt you, Luis, because it burns me every single time. There's not such thing as a North and South American continent. It's one continent. It's in the middle of the 19th century that American map makers started separating North and South America. So there's one America. That's it. And I think it's time for football fans in the Americas to be honest with themselves and merge CONMEBOL and CONCACAF. It's about time to do it. And I know there's a lot of why it's not going to happen, but we can at least make Copa America a real American Cup. That way we can see teams like Canada and the United States grind it out with South American teams. It's going to be in our benefit. So kudos to them. They did
Yeah.
it. They did it on MLS players. Kyle Laren, I gotta tell you guys one thing. I know there's a lot of bad blood. A lot of people are not going to let it go. I understand it. I get it. And I respect it. I was on your camp. One thing we have to say is we have to acknowledge that we're part of his history. And I would love for the club to just extend the hand and say, "Hey, what happened? That wasn't us, but we want to claim you back as part of our history." And for Kyle to once again feel welcome in Orlando. I think the one time that he played with Canada here in Orlando, he looked like he was scared that somebody was gonna jump out of the stands and attack him. Kyle Aaron played for Orlando. He continues to be the highest scorer in the MLS era, and those things cannot be forgotten. Just because of some situations that happened, that, in my opinion, the club sort of uh, propelled. So I just wanted to say that. I know that's controversial for a lot of people. I don't condone what happened with the DUI and all that other stuff, but he was a young man. We're hanging out with bad people. But I see the what's happening in Canada, and nobody mentions Orlando City. Those guys played here. Those guys were very good here. Just because some people made some boneheaded decisions doesn't negate their talent or what they did here. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention that before I forget.
No, I agree. I mean, I wish the best to Team Canada and to Kyle Aaron and everybody in Team Canada for sure. Very exciting team. They're clinched, and there we are, USA second spot. A win against Costa Rica, cherry on the cake. It's exciting to see who is the U.S. going to face at the World Cup if they clinch World Cup berth. I would love for them to be facing a South American team because, believe it or not, it will elevate. It could either go two ways. Either they will lose redundantly and they will categorically lose against it, maybe a Peru, which could be the fifth place. It could be against Argentina, Uruguay, Ecuador, right? It will be great to see them again, those teams, because you know they represent what the MLS is also. So it will be good to see pairing Argentina Superliga against MLS, and Peruvian Superliga against MLS, and Ecuadorian Liga Pro against MLS. I mean, you could see, and it will open people's eyes that here in the MLS, this is not the dinosaur league. This is not where dinosaurs come to die. This is an exciting, young, vibrant league that is pretty much putting together some of the best players in the world, and we can possibly contend for a World Cup in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be great to make a statement. And I mean, if they played at this level as we saw this weekend, obviously I know Panama let them play also. I mean, their defense was garbage. I mean, that's just completely true. And they played too aggressively. Uh, People within Panama, which I was there, were fighting with each other. The players, they were talking back to each other, like they were calling out their mistakes. There was no leader figure in Panama on that game. You could see a leadership figure in the U.S. with Pulisic. You couldn't see that in Panama, so it was a mess. And anyways, turn the page. Let's read some comments, and then let's go ahead and then switch to Orlando, Portland. Gabriel Gomez says, interesting point about one big America in Canada, Peru. Yeah. I think it'll be exciting. I tell people on my other podcast, in Ladre el Fútbol, I tell them, you know, play against Canada, play against the U.S. Let's go ahead and
Hmm. Hmm.
compete, guys. Right? That's I think they'll make it so much better. Joshua Tall, but I enjoyed the USA game last night. Joshua Tall, I wish Tesho scored versus Portland, which could have made us one, but glad we didn't lose. But just wish we won. But hopefully we win against LAFC. Hector Ayala, how you doing, sir? I have a free ticket for next home game. Let me know, guys.
Now everybody knows.
For
And
sure.
one thing I want to say, Luis, very little known fact is that the Falkland Islands, or Malvinas, as they are known to most Spanish-speaking people, um, they want to play. They want to play international football. Unfortunately, CONMEBOL has banned them because of obviously in support of Argentina, and they cannot play in CONCACAF because of distance. So if we were to have Copa America, the including all the American nations, maybe it will be time for us to throw pettiness to the side and allow those guys to represent their country. Just food for thought.
Yeah. It's a good. Definitely. Why not? Have him Guyana play too. French Guyana as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I know.
Have a,
And the fact about that is because they are a French department, the Gold Cup is the biggest competition they can go. So that's why they go all out when they play in Gold Cup, because obviously they cannot do it to the Gold Cup because it's like Florida going to the World Cup by itself. So
yeah. So let's switch gears, my friend. Let's go ahead and watch some footage. I want to thank Orlando City Communications for the footage. Obviously, as always, thank you so much. This is some of the footage from the game against Portland with Junior Urso. They had a hell of a game. Um, you know, um, I mean, a lot of players. I think Orlando could have definitely won this game.
hmm.
I mean, I expected more about Portland. I think the defense is in a very superlative um, stage. They know each other back and forth. It doesn't matter who's the number one. I think Mason did a phenomenal job. I think he could have maybe, penalties are a guessing game, in my opinion. And he tried to go to the right, and in the end, the guy shot right in the middle. So, but there you can see the goal. He silenced Rose City, and yep, Berklaw, and here you go. I mean, and what a phenomenal game on Alexandre Pato. Look at that assist right there. I mean, I mean, overall, just phenomenal game for Alexandre Pato. I love to see that he's increasing and raising his level of play
Hmm.
tremendously. And the game changer for Portland, in my opinion, and I'll give you the mic, was Sebastian Blanco. Sebastian Blanco came in, and then he definitely caused some harm in Orlando City's back line. And then obviously the penalty came about, which I think it could have been prevented. But again, uh, stuff happens. We get 4 points out of the West when I remember back in 2015, 0 points out of the West. And then we used to come down, to Orlando, back to Exploria or the Citrus Bowl like this, looking down. And I think Orlando has made a good statement. They're a tough team to play against. So what were your thoughts, your initial thoughts of this game, David?
Well, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that we were gonna get a point in Portland, I would have called it a good day. As you can see by these images, the place was packed, and that's one thing. It's a very small pitch. I already mentioned that to you guys. Portland, Cincinnati, and New York City are the smallest pitches in the MLS. So this is a very dangerous place. and they went out there. They got the opening goal, which is not easy to do under these conditions. It's turf, which I always say it takes away from the bounce of the ball, produces drag on the ball, meaning that the ball doesn't roll as far as you want it to. And like I said, it's just a difficult place to play. An 8-hour flight. The boys did very well. Um, I was on my way to the stadium when the penalty happened. I watched the video, and Perea really made a huge mistake, a very costly one. Remind everybody he's still a young man, learning his ways, his craft. I'm not gonna crap on the guy, but let me tell you something. If it wasn't for Mason Stoddard making that stop at the end of the game, we would have been regretting that penalty, because then we would have lost at the death 2-1. What's great about this game, in my opinion, about Mason is that we are starting to see that the fears that a lot of people had when Pedro is called to the national team, that our goalkeeping was going to decline as it did with Brian Rowe between the sticks, is not happening with Mason. Impressive. And our core of goalkeepers keeps impressing. We saw that with Orlando City B this past weekend. Of course, we're going to talk about that. But, I feel very confident that when Pedro is on dispose, that Mason's going to do very well. Mason might be inheriting that position the day Pedro decides to move on. We don't know. But at the end of the day, yeah, unfortunate to give the penalty away. But also we have to take into consideration second game on the road, West Coast, difficult places to play, and the team when we're playing against Western teams is sort of difficult because whatever happens at the end of the game, it doesn't really reflect so much on our pursuit to playoffs. Because if you lose, you're just cheating yourself out of the 3 points, right? And nobody else benefits from your demise. When you tie and when you win, it's sort of like a bonus. So I'm not gonna cry over it. We have bigger fish to fry this Saturday against another Western team. I'm really ready for us to play at home. Really ready for us to play teams in the East. But obviously that won't happen until the following week. So at the end of the day, my friends, like I've been saying to you guys, we're gonna win games that we're not supposed to win. We're gonna lose games that we're not supposed to lose. And a point here was well earned. I would have loved to defeat them and avenge what they did to us in MLS's back. But football is cruel and unpredictable, my friends. Luis, you're muted. You're muted if you can hear me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I want to thank Orlando City Communications for all the footage as well, and Mark Thor as well for some of the pictures for the game. When it comes to the lineup itself, obviously the back four are the back four. I think whether we liked it or not, I think they've all performed tremendously. I think Moutinho had a great game against Portland. He was very influential on the left wing. Cesar Araujo again, shutting people's mouths, playing aggressively, and being influential in recouping that ball in trying to find transition plays. And Junior Urso yesterday had one of the best games. Definitely this weekend he had one of the best games since he arrived to Orlando, and the goal was just a beautiful pass from Alexandre Pato that had also, but to me, he was probably the best player in Orlando. And this is the thing about Oscar Pareja that a lot of people don't realize. He revitalized Nani's career. I see it on a third perspective. Yes, he was a player that was in Man United, won a lot of cups, best friend of Cristiano Ronaldo, and all that good stuff. But when he came to Orlando, he was just another player. And I think that level of play and the level of fitness was thanks to the staff of Oscar Pereja, and they are bringing now a, Alexandre Pato has said in several interviews that Oscar was the one who asked him to stay. He had offers also from different clubs in Brazil. He could have definitely gone back to Sao Paulo. I think everybody knows that. And Oscar said, "I want to count. I want to have the chance to definitely bond with you, and I think we can do big things." And you could see it now. I mean, he definitely is improving his game, game after game after game after opportunity after opportunity. No, none of the Chara brothers can contain Pato in the first half. I was watching the game as I was on right there at the stadium at Exploria, waiting for everybody in media to come in and check in. And you know, Niesgoda then also got injured, and but again, what did we say in the preview last show? Van Rankin, it's not doing so well, and this is what happened. Van Rankin was not doing so well at all. He let not only Benji, but I will say more Cesar Araujo and Joao Moutinho go towards their side and penetrate and try to go and try to at least attempt to make some plays happen. Um, Another thing I will say is the ref. I did not like, and then I'll give you the mic so we can conclude this section of the show. Dairon Asprilla should have gotten a yellow card or even a red card. He was the one who was on into Ruan, bothering him throughout the whole game, fouling him for no reason. And I will say the same thing for Mauricio Pereira, who got stretchered out of the field. And you know, for what I know, and is that he's still being evaluated. Tomorrow is Orlando City practice, and there'll be more details about his status, if he's going to miss any time. Oscar believes, and he said it in press conference, that he hopes it's something minor, that he be able to come back fast or come back right away, you know. But he was taken out also out of precaution as well. So we still don't know yet. They're not disclosing the full details, but we will know more than likely had a better idea tomorrow. What are your thoughts of Portland, how they played, and to close out this section, David?
Yeah, to be honest with our listeners, my assessment is obviously based on what I saw. Unfortunately, like I said, the second half I had to head out to the stadium. I watched the highlight reel. I think Orlando City played very well. We were 10 minutes away from getting a W. Against that, it's frustrating when you are a man up and you give up a cheap goal like that, ruining Mason's opportunity to walk away with a clean sheet. On that last save that he had, really had no venom all game. And to me, what's important is we went out with not our 11 of choice, I should say, obviously because we were missing pieces. But at the same time, we went out there and we got the job done. With that said, in MLS, the key to success to make playoffs is tie on the road. We need to do this coming Saturday. We need to win, and it's frustrating to drop points. We get it, but football gives, football takes away. So later on in the season, we're definitely going to be seeing those points. Hopefully, be returning back to us due to pro being pro. This time going on our favor. It does happen once or twice a season, or capitalizing on a mistake by the opposing team. Junior Russo, I saw a question about from our friend
Yeah,
Jim
we're gonna
D.
go ahead and read that.
Sure,
Jim D says, "Is Urso our top scorer so far? If you count Chicago, I
and
think
that's
so."
correct. Yes,
And
and that's
then
correct.
Joshua Tall says, "Why do you think we put Tesho on the wing? Because he's played that position before
Mm-hmm.
in Dallas. He actually started as a winger.
Yep.
The only thing I would say is that Tesho, Okay, how do I break this? Tesho, no one can doubt that he's a team player. I think no one can doubt it. And so whatever Oscar thinks he's gonna be fit to play, he's gonna do it. But because of his speed and also what he's shown playing in the mid, which is kind of recouping that ball, um trying to do that extra pivot and holding defenses out. He probably thought having Claudio Bravo and Iron Asprilla, players that are very fast and very physical, rather than putting Van der Water on the wing, which is just more of a touchy technical player, kind of like
Mhm.
Mauricio, putting somebody with built, probably a little slow pace because he's a nine, he's a striker, but to create that friction and stop the play. And then he can maybe pass it to Junior. And that's why Junior had a hell of a great game, because Junior was running free as he was holding the wingers for Portland. Junior was going behind him and trying to attack and create plays with either Pato or Mauricio. And also Ruan was more free on the wing to do the back and forth.
Mhm.
So he was essentially more of a defensive tactical change, in my opinion, for Orlando City, which obviously you can do that against obviously Portland, right? Because Portland, we know that Portland can definitely. We faced Portland before. We haven't done so well in the past with against Portland and against West teams. So I'm assuming this is the reason why Oscar did it. So and also when he gives a direction to Tesho and says, "Okay, you're gonna go into the game and do this," I can see Tesho being a player that is tactically savvy. So definitely whatever he says, he's gonna do on the pitch. And so usually coaches like that because it makes their system work better. So and I think we saw that, and not gonna say also that he should have started or anything like that. I think that's Oscar's decision, but I mean I think he did a pretty good game working on that wing. What are your thoughts, David?
Well, I trust Oscar Pareja. He knows more football than I. He knows what works against each opponent that we're gonna be facing. I thought we matched very well with Portland, and had it not been for the PK, we would have walked away with the 3 points, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Again, we can't. Trying to figure out. We can't go out there with the idea of putting elevator on an outhouse. We have to do that, guys. We have to understand the needs of the season. We have a very talented, stacked team at the moment, and with room for growth. We already know Gaston Gonzalez is coming. We already seen what the additions to OCB can give us, which I thought that this past weekend they were fantastic. So we are, as Orlando City fans, we need to understand that rather than being what we used to be, 11 good players and a bench that was really bad. Now we actually have players on the bench that can be starters somewhere else. And you're gonna have to fight for minutes. I know Van der Water, a lot of people want to see him often. I'm gonna be honest with you. If he's not on the starting 11, if he's not touching pitch, it's because he has not been able to beat the people in front of him. And that doesn't mean that Van der Water is a bad player. Not at all. Van der Water came here from European side that was very good in the Netherlands, but this is MLS, and MLS is a physical league. There's a lot of running in this league, and players like Cesar Araujo are starting to find that out. And I see our boys there that this past weekend had an important victory, 2-0 over Chicago Fire 2. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend, but the people that went, they said these guys look like an MLS side.
No, I mean, I'll be honest with you. We need to feel very proud of what Orlando City is doing as an academy. as I think this team is exciting. I saw the players. Hackenberg was great. I'm gonna put the lineup right now so you guys can see a little bit more of the tactical side. First and foremost, I'm gonna have to say Alex Freeman, what a player! I mean, you're talking about the way he just owned that side. Um, Gunera, he had a red card, and I think it was just also more of like the ref, in my opinion. I think he was just trying to do his game, and he was just penalized. I think one of the yellow cards to me was not a yellow card at all, and it's just errors of the ref. But
Mhm.
what's exciting is right here on the left side, you have Taylor, Tablante, which was great,
I've been saying it.
on the left, and then this here, this connection, this two players right here, Rivera and Lin. Rivera could have scored a goal himself, but he was just unselfish. And when you have a number 10 that's just unselfish and would do anything for their team to win and make his partner look even greater as a finisher, kudos to you, my friend.
No,
And
absolutely.
I think what a level of play. You can tell why Freeman, Rivera, Lin, maybe Tablante. Obviously, Kembalo Guadalupe should be in this squad, but he's not. I think Hackenberg did an amazing job, and you can see why they're part of the first team also. Why are they options in case people go down with injuries and things like that? Because
Hmm.
they can definitely do some harm. Rivera yesterday, he did. I mean, against Chicago, he did a lot of harm, and he assisted Lynn in two outstanding goals.
Hmm.
And Lynn could have had a third one. He could have had a hat trick. Unfortunately, Chicago also plays a sport, so they had they were leveling up their play. And another thing I want to say is the keeper, Otero. I mean, if it wasn't for him, this would have started Chicago winning 2-0 in the first half too. So he had, at least in my opinion, um, between 3 to 5 key saves on that game, and they were very good saves. I would say Pedro Galese esque saves, right? Which it tells you that Oscar knows, because Oscar, they interviewed the Coach Perlman about it, and he said, these are players that Oscar has seen and has watched, and Oscar knows how the system for youth works, and these are also players that are, the first team is looking at, right? And
Hmm.
what a keeper, Otero. If he continues this level, he's definitely on the verge of being one of the best keepers in MLS's next pro.
Very
And
young and tall. I believe he's 6'5". So yeah, I was very impressed with his performance. Not surprised. Otero had his debut as a 17-year-old with OCB back in 2020, 2019. No, yeah, 2019. I'm sorry, and he impressed then. And obviously, you have seen what the U23s, OCB U23s that were playing in MPSL last year have done for him. Um, Otero, in my opinion, is another candidate to be with the first team. With Rivera, I'm not surprised. I have told people Rivera had a fantastic tournament with the U20s, with Puerto Rico U20s, and he's the number 10 there. With the Puerto Rico first team, he's more of a 7, but he's growing into that position, and actually have argued that perhaps Rivera will be um, the one that is going to inherit the number 10 once Mauricio Pereira moves on. But Rivera is only 18 years old. That's another thing that we need to consider. And Rivera needs to gain a lot of muscle mass, in my opinion, my personal opinion. I know Wilfredo. I know his parents, And I have talked to them several occasions, and his dad is a very practical, pragmatic person, and he has said that his son is not ready for MLS. So with that said, Moises Tablante, a player that, in my opinion, would have been signed already for the first team, but unfortunately his immigration situation is what holds him back. He will need a green card or an international spot. I'm sorry, to be with the first team, and I think that's what's holding him back. Tablante is speedy, crafty. Never say never. An engine that just keeps going. Jack Lynn, showing the reasons why we drafted him. And like I said, the boys played very well. I was very impressed with the formation. They were playing a 4-2-3-1, just like the first team. Coach Perlman basically replicated exactly what the first team is doing to perfection. Shut down the team. It will be interesting to see what they do as they move on this week to a new foe. But like I said, the people that were there, they said, "Hey, we were expecting some very subpar game from them." And they played as if they were another MLS side taking the pitch. So to me, that's important. That's exciting. That finally we have a pipeline of talent throughout the team.
Indeed. I think this team definitely is making some noise. We're going to continue covering. I want to thank every single player that retweets and puts our stories up on their stories in Instagram as well. And just tell everybody that consumes the content for Loud and Proud. Thank you so much. I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I think that you guys are the cornerstone of this club, and continue play to that level. And I think a dream come true for an Orlando fan is of OCB to win this cup, and then for Orlando City to maybe reach the final MLS Cup final, and then Orlando Pride also contend for the NWSL Championship. Triple crown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Triple crown club, and I think we have the infrastructure, the staff, the people behind the scenes to make it happen, and it's just exciting times. I think as an Orlando soccer fan, so
Absolutely.
definitely super proud of this of the boys, and I can thank him enough for
And
obviously.
Luis,
Mhm.
before we move on to the wrap up here with the LAFC game, I would like to point out that Robin Jansen, on the eighth minute of the game against Portland, became the club's all-time minutes leader in all competitions, passing Joe Bendick at 82:48. Following all 90 minutes, Robin now sits at 83:31. So congratulations to Robin Jansen. Robin, Robin is an unselfish player with a fantastic story of perseverance, of not giving up, never say never. Himself and Antonio Carlos have been called one of the best center back pairings in MLS. This guy, it's all positive. Every time he talks to the fans, he is so appreciative of being here, and I'm glad that he's wearing purple. So congratulations to Robin, a great person, a great dude, a great player, and not only that, uh, the longevity in this team has been one where he has contributed greatly, greatly to. There's more good that can be said about Robin Jansen than bad, and with that said, I just wish him a lot of success this season, and I'm super happy and super proud that he managed to achieve this milestone.
Also, Oscar Pereja, 300th regular season MLS matches for Orlando. The
Correct.
300 matches. I think two important assets for the club are Oscar Pereja and Robin Jansen. I mean, what a signing, right? I mean, the people ever thought signing him, was going to be, uh, make such impact.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely it's night and day of what we had there before as a center back. So so happy for him, and definitely exciting. Exciting news coming out of the Orlando camp for sure. And I think against LAFC, we're gonna repeat the same formula, but I want to see this level of excitement that we saw from the U.S. Panama game, because these players are gonna get just so motivated when they hear the crowd roaring, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna want to go and definitely kill LAFC, and they have exciting players too, LAFC side, right? So before we close the podcast today, and I want to thank everybody for their support. I want to talk about Orlando Pride also, right? And let's be a little bit sincere here. Orlando Pride is right now third in the NWSL. They have one draw and one. They lost the game. They lost against the Courage yesterday. One well, not yesterday, but day before yesterday. Literally one nil against the Courage, a tough team too. Almost playing with 10 men in a way psychologically. And the reason why I say is because unfortunately Marta was suffer a knock, and her injury is actually serious. She wrote on her social media that she has a knee ligament injury, is going to require surgery, and she will be out of the field for a long time. I feel probably for till her season's over, pretty much, in my opinion. Unfortunately, we expect for the captain of Orlando Pride to come back sooner. I think a player of her caliber, I don't doubt she's going to try to come back sooner than ever. But she was looking forward to represent her country. She was looking forward to, be the captain of Orlando Pride. And, Orlando Pride, believe it or not, despite losing Marta in that game, even they did lose a lot of attack, and I think Coach Cromwell is getting into the rhythm of obviously getting a system going, and but Orlando held their own. And this is and NC Courage is a contender for the NWSL championship again. I think Orlando Pride's schedule was one of the most complicated schedules. Next game is on Wednesday. They play against Gotham. They play against Krieger and against Harris. They'll come back to Exploria Stadium, but playing for Gotham. And it's going to be an interesting match, because if Orlando wins, they'll maintain themselves. They could either go into the second spot or they can stay in the third spot. And obviously, Gotham will go down in points. But it is kind of like a change of guard, right? There's a new sheriff in town. There's a new mentality, a new culture in the Pride, and unfortunately, even with Marta's loss, I see a lot of progress being made with this club, and in the level of play as well, and the young exciting players that they have, like Maggie Doherty Howard, like Montefusco, Jenkins, and Sydney Leroux also is contributing a lot in coaching these young players. So exciting times are coming for Orlando Pride. I'm so sorry to Martha. Unfortunately, you know, season ending. I think it's a season ending injury, in my opinion. I mean, because I know those knee ligament injuries are tough to come back from. But wish her a speedy recovery, and definitely we want the Pride to do well this season,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no doubt that these players and this coach they want to win, and
Absolutely, and it's while unfortunate, this is an opportunity for somebody to step up. I
exactly.
think, unfortunately, since its birth, Pride has been about names that not necessarily have produced trophies or points on the board. So we wish her a speedy recovery. But again, this is an opportunity for somebody to seize the moment, plain and simple. And to go to the question that you highlighted from Tulan Coca, um, What's you guys take on Andres Perea this season? I'm gonna be quite honest. Andres Perea is a young man. He has done very well for our club. Yes, he had a boneheaded moment in Portland. I'm not gonna let that define who Andres Perea is. I think he has a great future ahead of him, and you live, you learn. And in my opinion, right now he's not a starter for me. He's not a starter for me. We have a lot of talent in the midfield ahead of him, and it's up to Andres Perea to gate those minutes in a team that is as talented as the one that we have. Every opportunity, it's an opportunity, it's a time to shine. And unfortunately, Andres made a bad mistake, and that's how it is. And it cost a costly one. But those are the type of mistakes that young players need to do, need to learn from. And in my opinion, if he learns from this mistake, he corrects it, he improves on it, then lesson learned. If the problems continue to happen, then we don't have a spot for people like that. I think it's time for us Orlando City fans to put away the feel good Kool Aid. Just because we follow these players on social media, just because they sign our ball, just because they tap us on the shoulder and they call us buddy, it does not mean that they're bad people. But it may mean that they're bad players. So we have to,
Well, I mean, I honestly think he just, sometimes you have good games, sometimes you get bad games. Unfortunately, the tackle was unnecessary. Of course, I think everybody could agree with that. But again, he's a young man that carries himself very well, um, both in Spanish and in English. I mean, I've seen him in different interviews. He carries himself very well, very professional. First person to come into practice, last person to leave type of attitude. And people just sometimes it's just not your night, right? Like to me, today at work, it was not my day today at work, and it's just
had a day like that too.
right. It's just that, and I think you turn the page, and there's times that he's done some really good goals in times that we never thought he was going to score, and Orlando won thanks to some of his goals. So, I mean, he's a definitely a young prospect for the U.S. men's national team as well, and I think he'll have a better he'll learn from this. I'm sure him and Oscar had a talk, and Orlando definitely could have won it. It would have been great to get 6 points out of the West, but it could have been 0 points, right? If it would have gone back a couple of years back. So definitely things to work on, but I have nothing to say about Andres Perez's resilience. He's a good guy. And Joshua Tall, it says here, just last comments is, who's the captain for Pride since Marta's hurt? In my opinion, there should be. I mean, there's a couple of players that totally. I mean, I think they can definitely be a captain. Obviously, Sidney Leroux, because of what she's won. But what I've seen on the pitch, um, I mean, it is. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble or not, but I love Erin McLeod's how she's very vocal. She's the keeper of Team Canada, Olympic gold medalist, and also Gunny John's daughter. Gunny John's daughter, Iceland player. She eats that midfield. She's like our Urso for Orlando City, right? And she's very resilient. Somebody tackles her, she just gets up and just keeps going, and you know um, those type of players give me those type of players all the time. Players that want to win, that they have a commanding voice on the pitch, and I've seen those traits on those two players, Aaron and Gani. Also Sydney, right? There's a lot of youth, and for sure, I think Marta will be missed, but she'll be back, and hopefully, I think Orlando probably has the squad to definitely make another bold statement, probably winning against Gotham on Wednesday. So, last words, my friend. Anything else you want to say? You want to comment?
Well, we're going now to wrap it up with LAFC, correct?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, LAFC, last time we saw them, we sent them packing. The MLS is back. Beautiful night. Seeing our captain Nani sending the Pretenders back. I remember when we went to MLS's back and when they had us maybe earning a point against Nashville and being destroyed by Miami. But life comes at you fast, my friends. Life comes at you fast, and we humiliated them. I sometimes when I feel down, Luis, and feel a little depressed, I go on YouTube and I watch those 14 seconds of Bob Bradley looking as if somebody has shot his dog. Stoke, shot, frozen in time, with Nani going around with the hand on the ear. Um, I'm looking at what LAFC has done. They're first in the West with 10 points. Congratulations. But who have they played? All right. Well, let's see who have they played. They defeated 3-0 Colorado at home. They tied 1-1 against Portland at home. They went away to Miami and knocked them 2-0. No surprise there. FC Cincinnati beat Miami. So there you have it. There you have it. And they just played at home in a 1-3-1 against Vancouver. So the teams that they have played are not barn burners. They have only played one game away, and that was Miami. I'm not gonna lose sleep over these guys. They have a new manager, they have new players, and all that good stuff. That's great. We got shellacked by them 4-1 in LA in a game that stole a couple of goals from us due to VAR. So the 4-1 goal line goal result there is, you make what you make out of it. We tied them 2-2 in Orlando in a game that we should have won, my opinion. And again, we got them on penalties in MLS's back. I again, result against these guys is a good result. It's a Western team. They're coming from the road. If fans out in Orlando decide to show up like they did this last Sunday, then we may have a hostile environment for these guys. I know Joao Moutinho is going to be ready for battle. Joao Moutinho has always been salty, been angry at the fact that this team did not believe in him and traded him away for expired bus ticket and a bag of chips, basically. And I think that if they are going to, if Orlando City wants to make a statement, you make a statement against the darling of this league. I'm sick and tired of LAFC being placed as this. Anytime there's power rankings, tournaments, the baptism of a plastic doll. I don't care what it is. LAFC is at the top. It's one of the favorites. Why? Because they have a bunch of guys in the wall screaming. I mean, what have they done? Okay, so they won the supporter shield their first year. Wow, fantastic. This is football. It's what you do this year. I don't care what you did 10 years ago, 2 years ago, or 10 minutes ago. It's what you do now. And I think as Orlando City fans, we need to start. We're giving too much respect to these guys. And I'm sorry, no. We gotta win at home, and we're gonna prove that we are good enough. I'm not intimidated by them, and I'm gonna continue to harp on this because, I felt that was very disrespectful from Twelman and at the last at the game against Portland, how him and and his partner kept saying, "Oh, Orlando City has never won in the." We don't every time the national talking heads are talking about Orlando is always to say Orlando's not good enough. Orlando has problems. Orlando's this. Orlando's that. And I think it's time to prove to them that we are not the Orlando City of 5 years ago. We're not. We're different. We're getting better. We're good. And unfortunately, even when we win, and we saw it with LA Galaxy, how again the narrators of that game. If you watch that game on Univision, it was a Chicharito love fest. Nothing about us. 3 minutes out of 30 minutes, they dedicated to our team. So I'm sick and tired of that. As in, I want to win. And if you guys are listening You grab a friend that has never been to an Orlando City game or somebody that has fallen by the wayside, grab them and say, let's go to the stadium. The boys need us. Then perhaps we can escape with 3 points. Otherwise, mediocrity time. Here we go.
Well, I honestly think Orlando, if you want that to stop, Orlando needs to show that they can do that first and foremost. So, um, you know, my opinion, there are teams and there are teams. So, like for example, Newcastle could be a very historic club, but Chelsea wins cups, and they win cups for a reason. Liverpool could be super historic, but they choke sometimes in the UEFA Champions League, and Chelsea wins cups. So it's just I see it that way. You see it in that in different leagues, and I think it's up to those clubs to step up and demonstrate it. And the only way to demonstrate that is by performing and beating LA, which we did. Tying Portland, and we could have won that game easy. And now beating LAFC at home, I think every single home game, just like you said, needs to be definitely won on the pitch and also on the stands by Orlando fans screaming out. But I mean, not to. I think this LAFC side, it has some interesting players too. I mean, Brian Rodriguez, great player. Carlos Vela, I mean, you can knock it down. Latif Blessing as well. I mean, Sifo, Jose Cifuentes, and Kelly Acosta. He's a starter for the U.S. men's national team. So, I mean, there are some players that are there too, and I think Orlando is going to have to face them and make sure that playing Exploria is not an easy feat, which I have full confidence in our backline. I think Orlando has the best backline compared to LAFC. And I mean, those big markets, I mean, think about it. We're not going to get any respect if we don't win championships. That's why I think when Orlando wins its first championship, it's going to be so monumental, not just for soccer. We're talking about for the Magic. We're talking about for every other Orlando team, right? It's going to be monumental, and I think the city deserves it. That's why I'm so passionate when I talk about that kind of stuff, because I know for a fact Orlando has always looked like that. I mean, I remember when I went to see the final between LA and Orlando Magic, and LA Lakers, and no one gave two rats about Orlando Magic, right? I mean, no one, and pundits are going to be pundits, and unfortunately, just like you said, they're going to be motivated by, because they're a bigger market and blah 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 blah, and they have all the spotlight, and the news people are there to sell too, so I just think Orlando has a huge chance to make a statement on this upcoming game, and I have no doubt we're probably gonna get a W. I think the players are motivated, and after the players come back, meaning Facundo, hopefully Pedro Galese clinching World Cup berth, they're gonna be ready just to be in Orlando and just play in Orlando. And I think our team is gonna gone through some tough teams first, like LAFC, like Portland, like LA Galaxy, and now we get an easier schedule, than usual. So I'm predicting a win for sure here against LAFC. Let's see what people say. It says Washington Lopez. I absolutely agree. There has never been any love for sport commentators and refs too. I must say this season things are a bit different for the best. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It says Joshua Tall. I think we can possibly beat LAFC. And that's pretty much it, my friend Dave. Any last comments you want to give before we shut the shop down?
Absolutely. I would like to promote some of my side projects, if I may.
Sure.
I'm going to be in the Stevenage Football Club podcast tomorrow with my friends Matt and Reese, talking about Stevenage. They have a big game this coming up Saturday. They're literally probably the biggest game in the club's history. Whoever wins, basically whoever wins will stay in the football league. Whoever loses is going to be relegated to the National League. So that's we're gonna be talking about that. So if you want to listen to me representing the American football fan to an audience that probably has never heard an American talking about football, please follow my social media. I'll be posting the link there. If you don't follow me already, obviously right here, Florida underscore man 76. Also, Tiro de Esquina podcast, covering Orlando City in Spanish. Luis was my guest last Thursday. Thank you, Luis, again.
My
A lot
pleasure,
of
man.
positive feedback as always. People always like when Luis comes on, and my vlog, The Legendary David, on YouTube, where I cover all the incidences, all the things going on around Orlando City and all the clubs that I follow. So if you guys would like to visit me there, I will appreciate that. And one last time, Saturday 7:30. What are you doing on a Saturday night? What? There's nothing else going on in this town. All roads lead to 655 West Church Street in Paramore. Be there. Come on, let's go support the boys. Just have a few beers, let's chant, and let's cheer them on into victory. There's no excuse. Look at that picture in the background. We can pack the house. We have proven that. So let's go. Perhaps, like I said, Luis, perhaps maybe some of these people will feel inspired and go check us out this Saturday. And like I said, don't come alone. Bring a friend.
Yeah, definitely. And, I saw a lot of people from different countries too. I mean, en español se los digo también. Vengan a ver a Orlando City, por favor. Hi, Julita. No, no, come to see Orlando City, man. I mean, I saw people from all walks of life at that game. So, definitely we need to see this. We won World Cup. We need to pack our house every
Absolutely.
time we play against any team, and it motivates the players. You want the players to play at the highest level. This is one of the things you motivate the players.
Mm-hmm.
With your support. I want to thank Orlando City Communications and U.S. Soccer Communications for all the footage shown today, all the pictures as well. Some of the pictures for Orlando City, some of the videos. Also, U.S. Soccer Communications for obviously allowing us to cover the game. Thank you so much for that. And also Jackie, Diogo, everybody behind the scenes in Orlando. I want to also thank 1A1 Creative. Check him out on Instagram. Our friend Gabriel Gomez, our photographer for Latin Pride Orlando. Amazing work. Great photographer. He was covering the actual game also on the last weekend. So thank you so much. Check us out also our Facebook group, Orlando City SC MLS Informed Discussion Group on Facebook with all the latest. And also, if you're a journalist, you want to go and be part of the team of Latin Proud. You want to be able to cover the Pride, OCB, Orlando City. Send us a DM. You can find me at @Pineda_ORL on Twitter and on Instagram. And just send us a DM, and we're looking for you for sure. There's a lot of stuff to cover for Orlando, and we'll definitely need more hands and increase, not just be two, but maybe a third person too at this point. So, and also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're available audio at Spotify and Apple Podcasts through Anchor. So thank you so much as well. And don't forget to check out our social media. We're on Twitter at LPO_podcast. We're also on Facebook as Latin Pride Orlando. We're also on YouTube right now. Subscribe to our channel. Click on the notification bell for more notifications. And my friend, I guess we'll see you next Monday. And
Absolutely. I'll be here.
All right, vamos
Vamos
Orlando.
Orlando.
Vamos Orlando.